Welcome, flip clock fans. You're looking at a picture of a Howard Miller flip clock. This picture was sent to me by a person who was interested in selling the clock. We can see the tiles are discolored, there's no red on the rotor there, and the wood is kind of darkened in some areas there. So I made an agreement with the person and got the clock into Flip Clock Fan Studios. And I've cleaned up the wood here, and you can see here that this is beautiful wood. The descriptions of the clock call this rosewood, and you can see that it's just really got a really good color to it. There's only thing that's on this is wax. That's the actual natural color of the wood. There is no stain on this wood. Brazilian rosewood, Dalbergia nigra, can vary in color from a darker chocolate brown to lighter purplish or reddish brown with darker contrasting streaks. Lighter yellowish sapwood is clearly demarcated from the deeply colored heartwood. Due to the high demand and limited supply of Brazilian rosewood and its continued exploitation in recent decades, it has been listed in the most restrictive category of endangered species. The lumber is not only restricted from being imported or exported from country to country, but even finished products made of Brazilian rosewood may not cross international boundaries. Which is amazing. The Howard Miller flip clock cannot be shipped internationally. Did not know that. Now here's the base. You can see some of that sapwood, and a lot of designers left that in there because it just provides a kind of an interesting highlight to the product here. Now this tooling on the back was there, and there was a felt over top of this. And when I sanded it, I got the scent of the rosewood. It's really amazing. So let's talk a little bit more about the Howard Miller flip clock. The Howard Miller flip clock came out in about 1968 or 1969. Here it is advertised in 69. Uses a plexiglass cylinder, lets you see the works. Beautiful oiled rosewood ends and base create a decorator effect. The clock was advertised until about 1971-72. Here it is, the Howard Miller plexiglass cylinder digital clock. Black Arabic numerals on white. Now in 1971, $55 is equal to about $360 in today's dollars. Now interestingly enough, that's close to what I paid for it after shipping. Now that sounds like a lot, but these clocks will run from $500 to up to $1,000. The designer was Arthur Umanoff. He's considered a postmodernist designer. Sometimes George Nelson gets the credit for this clock, but we're pretty sure that Arthur Umanoff designed this clock. So you should call it the Arthur Umanoff designed Howard Miller flip clock. Now, this piece here obviously was scrapped from making this base, but you can see that will create a flat spot if you put it inside the cylinder for the mechanism. Now, speaking of the Brazilian rosewood, online if you take a look at it, we know we can't import it anymore, but they can sell the stocks that are available in the U.S. This piece here for $45 could make a base. This piece here could make the ends and the base. You're talking $221, and that's not an unusual price for this rosewood anymore. Now, this mechanism here looked very familiar to me, and it may look familiar to you as well. It's not a large mechanism. You can see here it's got a post that's just been crimped on there, which is curious. Now, after looking around here, I figured that it is actually the Copal 101. It's not like the Copal 101, it is the Copal 101 mechanism, which I thought was wonderful. I did not know that. I thought the clock was bigger than that. So here you see the Copal 101, considered Japan's first flip clock, and you compare them side by side and you can see they're essentially identical. The only difference being this post. Again, they just crimped it on there, so instead of trying to take that off and swapping out the mechanism, I did a tile swap. So I got the best tiles and put it inside the mechanism to give the clock a better look. This is the plexiglass cylinder with holes drilled out. We've got holes drilled out to secure the rosewood ends. There's a hole there for the electronics to come through, and then 2 holes for the mechanism to be secured to the base. So this is our before picture. We got yellow tiles, no red on the rotor. And this is our after picture. The wood's been cleaned up. It's running great. Now side by side, you see with the Copal 101 here. Again, I'm surprised at how small the Howard Miller flip clock is. Now the designer of the Copal 101, Ricky Watanabe, I think would be pleased with the Howard Miller flip clock. Now I always figured that the Howard Miller flip clock was confused as an antique because of the wood. This is a New Haven flip clock from 1937 to 1939. But looking side to side and considering the cost of rosewood, and even plexiglass cylinders are not inexpensive, the Howard Miller flip clock maybe is worth what people pay for it. I'm very thrilled to have this in Flip Clock Fan Studios. We've got the rosewood here. We finally learned a lot about this clock that I didn't know about before. It's a Copal 101 inside of a plexiglass cylinder with just a painted rotor. Simple, elegant. The Arthur Umanoff Howard Miller flip clock. Thanks for taking the time.